We're hitting the open road to Sweet Home Chicago to have fun at the Slaughterhouse ride. Slaughterhouse is a weekend of riding scooters and partying with friends in Chicago. Over 100 scooter riders are expected to join the Midwest's biggest, oldest, and best motor scooter rally, and it is back for its 30th year. So we're heading up to Chicago to party. Rain or shine, we're going to get there, and boy, oh boy, did it ever rain. At one point, I was looking for Noah, gathering animals 2 by 2. It was treacherous, but nonetheless, we had ourselves a fantastic time. There was trucks, and more trucks. And these trucks are the lifeblood of our nation. To get to Chicago, I took the highway all the way. And when you're taking a highway and you're going to ton of trucks, you're going to have a ton of traffic as well. It didn't matter. If it was highway, if it was a city, we were sitting in traffic. When you're riding the highway, there is plenty to see. There are bridges and tunnels and flyways and byways. I did it all. They say it's the journey and not the destination. This journey had plenty of breakdowns, and tow trucks and more tow trucks. Nevertheless, we were back on the roads and gassing up wherever we can. And let's not forget about the food. It was sensational. Had a great time. Got to see some cool places, did some great things. What an incredible experience. I'm so glad that you're coming with me. There's only one thing left to say. Our day one starts in Carolina Beach, and we're heading all the way up to Washington, D.C. We're taking Route 40 out of Wilmington and swinging over to Route 95, heading north. We may be riding the highway, but there are some curious things to see along the way. There is a Confederate flag hoisted on an 80-foot pole of US 301, visible to drivers on I-95 South in Prince George County, Virginia. The 20-foot by 20-foot flag was raised up by members of the Virginia Flaggers. The group chooses to place flags in places of historical significance to Confederate history. This site has been named in honor of Confederate Lieutenant General Wade Hampton III, who later served as governor of South Carolina and a U.S. Senator. The Southern General was also behind the Beefsteak Raid. In September of 1864, which occurred within a mile of the flag site, Hampton's Confederate troops successfully crossed into the Union camps and stole over 2,000 cattle. We're back on the road, and I don't like the look of those ominous-looking clouds there on the horizon. There are more things to see and a small stop. We're pulling over by the Marine Corps base in Quantico. This Iwo Jima Memorial is located at the intersection of Jefferson Davis Highway and Fuller Road. On common valor was a common virtue. The sculpture is made from limestone, or was carved by Felix de Weldon in 1945. After making this and other similar pieces, Mr. de Weldon oversaw the production of the 100-ton Marine Corps War Memorial in Arlington, Virginia. We go back on the road, and those ominous clouds were growing darker and darker. Then all of a sudden, the sky opened up and it just chucked it down. It poured. It was treacherous. It would not let up. It was just nonstop all the way to Washington, D.C. And you treat these riding conditions like you would treat any other wet riding conditions. Is that you keep your distance, you slow down, and you want to get there in one piece. And we were almost there. What should have been a 6.5-hour ride turned into 8.5. We finally got there safe and sound and in one piece. I was as wet as a drowned rat, as wet as a soaked sponge, as wet as a fish, as wet as a dew-kissed morning. I was wet to the bones. Did I mention I was wet? Golly, it got wet fast. It got wet real fast, and it got puddly real fast. Doctor, what's the good word? Time to get out of these wet clothes and into a dry martini. How about this for parking? Oh, it just keeps getting better and better. Perfect. Perfect. A perfect end to a day like this.
Cheers.
A glass of red wine, a New York strip steak, and a nice comfortable bed. Day 2 should be an easy ride. From Washington, D.C. to New York, it should only take 4 hours and just a tad over a bit. Nothing could go wrong. With so much time on my hands, I decided to ride around and take a look at the local monuments. After that jaunt around Washington, D.C., we were rolling. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move until Bruno broke down. 1 hour north of Washington, D.C., he threw a temper tantrum and just stopped. He pulled over to the side, called a tow truck, and waited. It wasn't the end of the world. I believe it's not the situation, it's how you react to it. Also, my fellow cannonballer Scott Donovan said if you've got a phone and a credit card, you'll be alright. And lucky for me, my tow truck driver knew exactly where to go and what to do.
I have a mechanic shop also.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's my mechanic shop.
Do you know how to fix this thing?
Bike? I never mess with the bike.
Ah.
But my mechanic, he's a mechanic, right? But he works on car. Maybe he might know. But I know a lot of places you can take it there.
Yeah, if you could tell him it's a Vespa, 300cc.
So you just need a belt, right?
It's a belt. The belt is the issue. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
But if you can find a belt, someone will definitely be able to.
And sure enough, my Pakistani tow truck driver saw me right. He took me to College Scooters and they knew exactly what to do. They told me to hang tight, go next door and grab a taco, and I should be on my way in about an hour and a half.
Tacos make everything feel better. Cheers.
And sure enough, it was a busted belt. I was back on the road again, ready to take on the rest of the day. Away we go! And after that minor setback, I was back on the road, battling trucks and traffic. The Fort McHenry Tunnel is a 4-tube bidirectional tunnel that carries traffic on Interstate 95 underneath the Baltimore Harbor. Named for nearby Fort McHenry, the tunnel construction began in May 1980, and the tunnel opened on November 23, 1985. Having cost approximately $750 million, by today's money, $2.1 billion in 2023, it was the most expensive interstate project until surpassed by the Big Dig in Boston. As of 2009, it was used by 43.4 million vehicles annually. Opened on time and under budget, the tunnel closed the gap in I-95 through Maryland. Soon after Fort McHenry Tunnel opened, the nearby Baltimore Harbor Tunnel, which had opened to traffic in 1957, was extensively rehabilitated. The Fort McHenry Tunnel continues to be a vital transportation link in the Mid-Atlantic region. The Delaware Memorial Bridge is dedicated to those from both New Jersey and Delaware who died in World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and the Persian Gulf War. Construction was authorized by the Highway Departments of Delaware and New Jersey in 1945. Originally, a 2-lane highway tunnel was considered, but the cost for a 4-lane bridge was found to be equivalent in price, therefore being the reason a 4-lane bridge was chosen. Congress approved the bridge project on July 13, 1946, and its construction began on February 1, 1949. The project cost $44 million, and it took 2 years to complete the 175 feet high span, with towers reaching 450 feet above water level. The first span opened to traffic on August 16, 1951, and at the time was the 6th longest main suspension span in the world. The New Jersey Turnpike is a system of controlled access highways in the U.S. state of New Jersey and was opened to traffic on November 5, 1951. The Turnpike is maintained by the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. The 117-mile mainland southern terminus is at the Delaware Memorial Bridge, and its northern terminus is at the interchange with I-80 and U.S. Route 46 in Richfield Park. Construction of the main line from concept to completion took a total of 22 months between 1950 and 1951. My hotel in New Jersey was a sight for sore eyes, I can tell you. I was ready to call it a day. What should have been a 4.5-hour ride turned into 7.5. It's all a part of the experience. Tomorrow, New York City.
What a day. Day 2. I'll see you on the next. Away we go! Crazy bastard.